So a big hello to everybody. I'm very pleased to join this international conference on climate justice. And I would like to start by thanking the Jean Monnet Center of Excellence at the University of Padova for giving us the opportunity to inform a little bit about the Jean Monnet actions and what they represent. Next slide, please. Okay. Thank you. So, in fact, the Jean Monnet activities started in 1989 because it was felt that with the new process of European integration, it was important to support the European universities in order to include in their curricula teaching and research about the role of the European integration, the new integrated European policies, and also, in a way, the projection of Europe in the world as well. And initially, it was just for the member states. Then, with the fall of the Berlin Wall, it was important that also the accession countries could have access to these subsidies to start researching and learning about European integration. And then very quickly in 2001, it was already open to the whole world. In the last 7 years, this was included in the Erasmus Plus program, and today we are in a very special week because last week it was published the new legal base for the new Erasmus for the coming 7 years. And in fact, we had already launched a call for Jean Monnet activities in advance of that, and tomorrow we are having our first deadlines. So it's a little bit complicated to decide what to tell today, because it doesn't make sense that I tell you about the calls that close tomorrow. But I would like to provide some information on the objectives of the program and something also about the results of the last call where your center was selected. Please, next slide. So this is the worldwide network of Jean Monnet nowadays. We have activities in over 90 countries, and there are more than 1,000 universities that offer there are more than 1,000 universities that offer courses on European Union studies, thanks to the support of Jean Monnet, involving more than 1,000 professors and several 100,000 of students in each year in these activities. So from the beginning, close to 6,000 projects have been funded. Next, please. So this was under Erasmus Plus in the last 7 years. We were focused on higher education institutions, and there were 3 types of actions. The first one was to promote teaching and research on European integration, and there we had the modules, the chairs, and the centers of excellence, which were gradually increasing in ambition and in the activities organized, and of course also in the support received from the program. Then there was activities on policy debate and exchanges between academics and policymakers, and the actions were called projects and networks. And finally, there were also support for the associations related to EU integration, but this was a much smaller amount. Next, please. So in the last call, we ended up supporting 362 successful proposals for close to 21 million euro. The biggest number of proposals were modules, close to 40%, and then chairs close to 20%, and projects 27%. But even if the networks were only 5% of the grants and the centers of excellence were only 8%, you can see in the next slide that regarding the money that was provided, please the next slide, the centers of excellence and the networks are receiving an important amount of money. Centers of excellence were getting 14% of the funds. Next slide, please. Also, there has been a big evolution in the scope of our projects in the Jean Monnet actions. Initially, you would imagine that it's basically the professors who were in the legal disciplines and economic studies, for example, related to trade or to the single market. But now, with the evolution of the competences which are managed in an integrated way at the European level, there is an interest as well in teaching and providing research about what are the policies of the integrated European institutions in many disciplines. So you can see that from the priorities of the Commission for the coming years, all of them are well covered by the proposals that were selected last year, and in particular, 12% is proposals which are dealing with the European Green Deal and environmental issues. The next one, please. So what is the scope of what we call European studies or European Union studies for our program? We are covering the study of Europe in its entirety, but with a particular emphasis on the EU dimension. So it's important that when you prepare a proposal that you would like to be supported by our program, that you make sure that you deal with European subjects, but involving as well, in particular, the EU dimension with regard to policies or with regard to the role of the EU in the world, etc. Next one, please. So what are the main objectives of our actions in the higher education institutions regarding academic matters? Of course, promoting excellence in teaching and research, but also trying to reach out to a wider public and to organize events with society and with policymakers. And with regard to the opening to the rest of the world, it's an opportunity to, through public diplomacy towards the partner countries, to promote the EU values, to promote what the EU stands for, and to disseminate information about the European policies. Next one, please. So just very little information additionally on the modules, chairs, and centers of excellence. Modules are short teaching programs. They involve an amount of 40 teaching hours, but they might be multidisciplinary, and they could involve input from several professors. Then chairs are a little bit more ambitious. It's 90 teaching hours, and there is a chair. It's a particular professor who is the chair holder, but there can be a team enhancing the activities together with him. And then centers of excellence is the top of the possible support with regard to teaching and research. Here we would like that there is a focal point of competence and that there is an effort to gather high-level experts, as it was mentioned earlier, where there is an effort to do research and teaching in a multidisciplinary way, and to organize transnational activities whenever possible. Next, please. So the new Erasmus Plus has now been adopted. As you know, it's a very ambitious program of the EU. The amount of money has almost doubled and is going to be for the coming 7 years, 26 billion euros. 1.8% is going to be for Jean Monnet activities. And there is also going to be an important support to policy actions like the European Education Area, the Digital Education Action Plan, the European Skills Agenda, and strategies for youth and sport. Next one, please. So it's in general more an evolution than a revolution. There is much more money, but it's very similar to the previous Erasmus Plus that you already know. We hope that it will be more inclusive and accessible, more digital and more green, and that there will be also possibilities to develop EU awareness also in an international scene in an easier way than before, and that also for the participants it will be simpler, in particular because of the simplified funding schemes. Next one, please. So for Jean Monnet, we have a major extension. It's an extension beyond higher education institution. It's for other fields of education and training. We are going to continue with the actions that you know, even if in the first call it was only open to modules, chairs, and centers of excellence within the university sphere. Now we are also going to open networks, and eventually we also plan to open projects. The big extension is to schools and to vet centers, where we have started with teacher training and networks, but now we are going to support EU learning initiatives at the level of individual schools and individual vet centers, also to learn more about the European integration and the European disciplines. And next, please. I would like to finalize with a few seconds about our top success story, which is Italy. Italy, from the beginning, has been very attracted by our program. There has been a very important participation from Italian universities in particular. And in the last 7 years under Erasmus Plus, 251 projects from Italy were selected, and it was the top 1 country in our program. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a very interesting and successful conference.